Okay, so into today's video, I am going to show how to do some basic Lightroom adjustments. I'm just going to walk through what I typically do whenever I'm just going through kind of my first run when I'm doing Lightroom adjustments. So I just imported these photos into Lightroom, and hopefully you already know how to import. They're actually not finished importing just yet, but I'm going to go ahead and start editing, even though it's going to make it kind of slow because it is importing and they're large files. So you can see on this very first picture that I clicked on, the lighting, there's way too much shadow in this photo. So I'm in library right now. I just double clicked on the very first picture here, but I'm going to go over to develop, which will give me more options. And once I have develop pulled up, what I typically do is I stick with the basic sliders over here on the right. So you have your temperature, which this camera in particular, you'll see in some of the other pictures, it does have a tendency, I use auto white balance, and it almost always makes my pictures a little bit too blue for my preference. And you can see it's pulled over. That's already done. I didn't do that part. So in order to pull the shadows up, I could either just go with the shadows here with this slider. I can pull it up as far as it'll go, which, because my computer is going really slowly right now, that didn't even make any kind of difference yet. But I can also pull the exposure up. So the shadows, you can go like as far as it'll go on that. But when it comes to the exposure, you may need to, you want to go slow. So dragging the exposure up just a little bit at a time, you can see a really big difference. So it's obvious that the sun was hitting them from camera left. And so you can see that kind of harsh light on the left side of their faces and then shadow on the right. So I had pulled the shadows all the way up over here, so I may go back down with them just a little bit. And then the highlights, some people are fine with those highlights. I don't like them quite that much with those shadows on their faces. So I will pull the highlights down. So if you slide your slider to the left, you're calming those hot spots or highlights down. And if you dragged it up, it would make them brighter. Same with the shadows. So you can do a little bit of adjustments if you were to go to whites or blacks. It would do kind of the same thing as highlights or shadows. And but I'm not going to do that on this one. I also notice I almost always shoot all of my pictures. It's just a little bit off. So on the this tool here, if you wait until you see the little arrows on the right, lower right hand side, this will just straighten your picture. It's really not bad, but I feel like it just needs to go a tad to the right. And then I'll click done on that. This kind of bothers me a little bit, but in order to get rid of that, I will probably just pull this in, crop it a little, and then it won't be as noticeable. I don't like this car in the background either, but I could try to get rid of it, and I can using Lightroom, but Photoshop does a much better job. But just to show you what it looks like if you try to do it in here, I will zoom in a little bit so I can see the car better. And then if you go to the spot removal tool, click on that. The size that it's set to, it shows you that your little cursor is that size. So I usually try to make it about the size of whatever I'm trying to remove. And so I will just go about like this. I usually only use spot removal in Lightroom if it's something really small that's not going to be noticeable. This is probably too big to look normal, but I'm just going to try to get it right there to start. I click it, puts the clone part in the worst place. So I'm going to pull it up to make it look a little closer to, yeah, it's just not going to look great no matter what. Let's see, I don't know. I don't like the way it looks. I'm going to go at least try to make those lines match up. And for me, this is way too visible. I don't like it at all, but I just wanted to show how to do it. So once again, it pulled it from the most random place that does not look at all the way that it should, but you can drag it. Just drag it to the one that looks closer to what you're going for. And now when I click done, you can see that is really ugly. It does, like I said, a much better job in Photoshop. I mean, when it's zoomed out, it's not terrible, but I will not leave it like this. Most likely, I'm going to take this into Photoshop and finish taking that out because it looks a lot better. But on this video, I'm just showing what to do in Lightroom only. If I chose to pick this video, I can hit P. I'm using Windows, so I'm just going to hit the letter P, and that is flagging it as a pick. Go to the next one. You can see the next one is a little dark too. And I'll do the same thing. Try pulling my shadows up first, and it's still a little too dark for my taste. Also on the color temperature, I'm going to slide this blue over a little more. I add some warm, I like it to be a little warmer. It's prettier that way. Also, her dress is yellow, and I want that yellow to pop. So, slid that one over, added the exposure, pulled that up just a tiny bit, straighten it just a tiny bit, get rid of this section so it takes out at least one of those vehicles. The other one's still back there. I'll go into Photoshop and fix that. This one's definitely pretty crooked. That was the first thing I noticed, so I'm going to straighten it up. And can't see the poor dog back there. He's looking away. She, actually. Probably won't keep that one just because the dog. And this one, I was standing on a hill, just so everyone knows. It was unlevel ground, but still, I'm really bad about that part. So just trying to get, that's the quickest and easiest way to get rid of vehicles in the background for me. I like to just, so I pulled my highlights down and my shadows up. The exposure is fine. I'm just going to add some warmity to this. When you're making it warmer, the only thing you need to watch for is people's teeth. Sometimes that will make their teeth look yellow, and that is not a good look at all. So, as you can see what I'm doing here, I'm just going through, this is what I would normally do. I'm actually just doing it as we go. Makes it quick and easy. I think her eyes are closed on this one. Yeah, pretty much. So I won't use that one. That one, there are no cars in the background. That's totally awesome. You can see how unlevel the ground was that I'm on because it kind of cuts her feet off. I'm not crazy about that, but it's not terrible. So most likely I'll hang on to that one. I didn't do any adjustments to that one. This one, Dad's eyes are closed, so won't keep that one. This one is a little dark. I can't tell. Her eyes are kind of closed. They're not all the way closed. So I'm just going to pull up the exposure a little bit on this one. Pull the highlights down because I do not like a plain white sky back there. I can't hardly stand that. And yeah, maybe add some vibrance, a little bit of vibrance so those colors really pop. And just slide this over a little more yellow. And yeah, that's pretty much what I do. I like this one a little bit better. It just needs to be straightened up a tad. And then let's just try pulling the shadows and pull those highlights down. I just kind of play with it. I think that's what most people do. You just kind of play with it. It's a little more close up. I think I'm just going to take some of that clarity away, soften the skin a little bit. If you slide the clarity down a tad, it softens the skin a little bit. And I won't keep going on all of these, but you get a basic idea of how I do like quick edits in Lightroom. I don't like to take them into Photoshop unless I absolutely have to. So hope you enjoyed this quick tutorial on how to do basic edits in Lightroom. If so, please like and subscribe. Thank you.